this Vishwakarma Jayanti, which I think is one of the unique community that we have in our country. Unlike most of the Western world where the person is celebrated more than his work, I think it's eternally important to understand that our tradition has been celebrating the community as well as the anonymity of the community together. So there's a Samarpan which is involved in this work, and I think that is very unique. And I respect and pay my prayer to the entire Vishwakarma community on this Vishwakarma Jayanti Divas. And I would like to take this opportunity to introduce ourselves. We are a Sangha, which is called the Ritambhara Sangha, which is actually a trust and ashram initiated by Shashikalaji and Raghuji. It is nestled in the naturally blissful environment of Nilgiris currently, and is dedicated to reviving and bringing him the new way of looking at the entire life. Ritambhara offers an alternative way of engaging with life rooted in Indic wisdom. This is it has paved its way of a community seekers to come together and engage in active co-learning throughout the inner work, communing with nature, theater, music, art, and various aspects of Vastu and yoga. Ritambhara primarily has two aspects, one which is driven by yoga and the second driven by Vastu. And we currently are around 11 people who are part of Ritambhara Vastu Sangha. I would like to quickly introduce them so that you understand. The idea of Sangha is that we have come together with one goal in mind, that to revive our Indic traditions and to bring it to the foray and bring all the wisdom that we had to the current application contemporary work. I am Anand Ukkedve. I'm an architect by profession. Graduated from Sir J.G. College, Masters in Urban Housing. Fortunately, I came across Shashikalaji a few years back, and I'm now actively involved for the last 4 or 5 years in the work which our Sangha is doing in the active practice called Brahma Sutra, which is our design wing, as well as helping ma'am in taking the research ahead. We have Amar, I don't know whether he's joined already, who is an engineer builder from Hyderabad, based in Hyderabad. He also is currently actively taking this ahead, and he completely and deeply involved in the entire idea of taking this to the larger mass of application. Is also connected with various projects that we do. Then we have Chandana. Chandana, you can say hello, maybe. Chandana Reddy, who is also architect by profession from Chennai, was drawn to explore community-centric and ground-up approaches to design and architecture through her work in Auroville, Chennai and Himachal. Her search for what makes the space alive and how can we craft them further led her to this Sangha Vastu and Ritambhara. And she is a very active member of our pedagogical group, involved in conducting various workshops and sessions with the larger mass as well as architects. Rathina Soni is another architect working in Auroville for the last few years with and she also has been involved with the active practice as well as pedagogical understanding. She has been actively working in sustainable construction with earth as the primary construction material. And she strongly believes in developing an area in Indian philosophies, appropriate building material for sustainable development. She believes that there's a confluence between where both of these meet, evolving into a holistic approach. Then our host, Shivangi, is again another architect living in the township of Auroville. And in her search of balance in the life and space, which has driven us to this explorations in Vastu through our Sangha. And she believes in studying, practicing, and taking forward this Indian knowledge of architecture through professional and personal work. She is also actively involved in our pedagogical realm of the Sangha, which is about teaching sessions. Then we have Madhura. She's also an architect, a practicing architect in Mumbai. She's primarily working in residential projects in search of health, happiness, and healing and harmony. She has turned towards her roots, and she's discovering this Vastu as one of the leading way to achieve these goals. Then we have our very learned friend, Mr. Saumitri. I don't know whether he has been able to join us today. He's a professional banker serving in private sector bank, but parallelly he's pursuing studies in various aspects of streams of Jyotisha and Vastu together. He has done masters, pursuing his PhD, and he specializes in Nadi Jyotisha and currently pursuing research on temple architecture and residential Vastu in Manushalaya Chandrika and other classics. Then we have Manjusha Ukidwe, who could not join us today because she's traveling. She's also a landscape architect by profession. Shibori artist and various other art forms is her passion. She's been involved in academics as well as practice for last 25 years. And recently she stumbled upon this Vastu, and she's now helping ma'am, Shashikala ma'am, in her Chikitsa Vastu. Then we have another architect, Nita, who is also from Pune, where I belong from. She has recently completed her master's in traditional Indian architecture through MIT. She also wants to pursue the route of Vastu architecture in her practice as well as her teaching. And she's also associated with our research activities in Vastu. And finally, our initiator and mentor, Srimati Shashikala ma'am. I think most of us do not need any introduction per se of Shashikala ma'am. She is an architect by profession from Madras School of Architecture. Inspired, or as she puts it, challenged by Dharampalji, then she started her quest in Indic wisdom of architecture and studied almost a decade with the renowned Sri Ganapati Sthapati, a leading authority in Vastu Shastra. She also has studied yoga at the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram. With her this kind of varied background and deep work in Vastu and yoga, she brings together unique confluence of learning and experience of yoga, behavioral work, fine arts, mythology, crafts, Vastu Shastra, and architecture, along with human psychology. And she has designed many programs and conducted many programs across the world to enable people to bridge this gap between tradition and modern in her own insightful way. She also extensively worked on the projects incorporating the wisdom of Vastu with the modern lifestyle and explored the field of application. She has written several books, such as Penguin Guide to Vastu, Vastu, A Path of Harmonious Living with Ganapati Sthapati, Indian Sculpture and Iconomy, Form and Measurement, which is actually translated by her. She's a recipient of Ashoka Foundation Scholarship for innovative contribution in the field of architecture. She's also been part of the team which made 1991 National Award winning film, The Living Tradition, A Shilpi Speaks, that explains the tradition of the sculptor. Along with her husband Raghu Anantara, she has co-founded Ritambhara, where we are blessed to work with her. So now I invite Shashikala ma'am.
Have you mentioned Priya?
Yeah, Anand, Priya, we made.
Sorry, sorry. I am
She's
sorry.
the most
so sorry.
important part here today.
Yes, ma'am. I think in the run of looking at the screen. Yes, I'm so sorry, Priya. I think it's in the run of looking at the screen and talking simultaneously, I missed a couple of things. So one of the key important factor in organizing these Vastu Jayanti, and one of the very stable continuous support member is Priya, who has been organizing all our programs, including all the pedagogical sessions that she conducts and helps as faculty. She's been extensively involved in research. She's a graduate architect and has done her post-graduation from CEPT in architecture conservation. Extremely talented with her art skills as well as research skills. She wants to pursue this idea of taking Vastu to everyone, especially with getting to document and reach out to the traditional Vishwakarma community as well as arts and craftsmen, so that all the work that our culture has been doing can be brought in front of everyone. Once again, apologies, Priya. I'm so sorry. And now I request Shashikala ma'am to kindly say a few words, invoke the prayer and initiate today's program.
I will start with the prayer. Those of you who know Shanno Mitra, you may join me. Because this is a prayer to all our faculties as well as the energies of the environment simultaneously. Okay? Om Shanno Mitra Shambarunaha Shanno Bhavatvarjama Shanna Indro Brihaspati Shanno Vishnurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvattaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome to everybody. I think we have spoken enough. It's time to listen to Umapathy ji. Before we start the lecture, I want to say that it is very critical that some of us hold the energy of a traditional continuity. And particularly in today's context where there is so much of violence and violation against the Sanatana traditions, it's very, very important that groups of us hold it with dignity and pass it on to the next generation in as pure a form as it's possible to offer it to them. We are actually caretakers. We are actually custodians of this immense treasure of Sanatana Dharma with its various streams. Vastu, the Shilpa community, the Vishwakarma community, the chanting of the Brahmin community. There are so many of them. Ayurvedic healing communities. You have so many people who have patiently and sincerely held their traditions intact without in any way expecting any remuneration. They have done it with a certain dedication and a love for the tradition. Half of them, maybe even more than half of them, don't receive any remuneration. They live a life of extreme poverty or extreme hardship, and yet they preserve their tradition. I think this needs to be constantly valued and revisited. That is our payback to our ancestors who have survived so many onslaughts, so much of colonialism, and what Sai Deepak calls coloniality. We have survived it. And if we have survived it, it is because of the power of our ancestry. And let us, for a moment, just offer our thanksgiving to our great ancestors of every stream of Indian Sanatana Dharma knowledge. Thank you, everybody. And let's move on to Shri Umapathy.
Namaste, Shashiji.
Namaste.
So,
Am I audible?
yes, sir. So I'll just take a few moments to introduce you, sir. Thank you for joining us today. So our first invitee today is Shri K.P.Umapathy Sthapati, Shri K.P.Umapathy Acharya. Shri K.P.Umapathy Acharya is a hereditary architect and sculptor, and he is also the director of Institute of Sacred Architecture in Kumbakonam in Tamil Nadu. Shri Umapathy did post-graduation in public administration, but there was never any doubt in his mind that one day he would follow the footsteps of his ancestors, the traditional sthapati from the Vishwakarma community. His father taught to him not only the nuances and practical aspects of temple architecture, but also about the foundation that this science has in our traditional texts. Shri Acharya has presented research papers at many national and international seminars and has authored articles on temple architecture and Shilpa. He had published 2 Silpasastras, Shilpa Vidya Rahasyopnishad and Ratha Lakshana. Apart from such academic work, he is constructing new temples and helping to restore old. In 2004, he was given the Best Artist Award by the government of Tamil Nadu, and 2008, he was honored by the Shanta Prasad Award for Outstanding Excellence in Traditional Knowledge and Skills by the Craft Council of India. In the year 2013, he was awarded with the prestigious title Abhinava Sarvasiddhi Acharya in Badami, the capital of Chalukya kings, and 2016, he was honored with Shri T.P. Kapali Shastri Award by Sakshi Trust, Bangalore. Shri Acharya is always interested to teach Vedas and Shilpa texts and the practical intricacies of temple architecture. He and his brother are tirelessly working to revive the Vishwakarma traditional knowledge and ancient system of temple architecture and iconography. I thank you once again, sir, to join us today, and I welcome you. Today, you will be talking about temple architecture and Shilpa Shastra. I hand over you this space.
Namaste. Let you borrow my PPT. Om Sinduram Pajavatram Dasabujavayam Pustakam Likida Gadgam Gadvangam Bijavuram Amrita Kalasham Kandiha Matshamalam Trishula Janamudra Asura Sura Guruhum Vishwakarmam Namami Palland Palla Iratand Palakodi Nurayiram Malanda Dindol Manivanna Un Sevadi Sevi Tirukap Adiyamodum Ninodum Pirivindriyayiram Palland Vadivain in Valamarvanil Valhindra Mangayum Palland Vadivar so the Valaturayum Sudarayum Palland Padivor Hukumudanga Panchasanyamum Pallande. My humble namaskaram to each and every participant and my gratitude to Ritambhara for arranging such a great celebration for the Paramatma Lord Vishwakarma. I especially extended my sincere thanks to Shashikala Anand, my very good friend for so many decades, for arranging and giving a very excellent introduction to this session. I am really surprised. Even nowadays, people are thinking about the great tradition of Vishwakarmas. We have thousands and thousands of books, articles, seminars, but there is a very few words regarding the tradition. It is since so many decades, since the time of the British people, British rule, it is happening. Very great books. 1 or 2 lines about the craftsperson according to their own estimation, or the mason, or the labor, or a coolie. They are pricing. So it is a beautiful work, excellent work, something. Because there is a lack of understanding for the art historians, as well as those had written the volume of books about the Indian art. because their understanding of the aesthetics as well as of the sacred space or space engineering in modern terminology. There is something is lacking. I am really so wondered about the Shashikala Anand. He is filling the gap, the old tradition and the modernity, as well as the clear-cut understanding of the aesthetics as well as that of the space. According to Indian theory, there is the space is not wide. Indian philosophy insists it is most dynamic one. Every autumn is very dynamic. Every space is vibrant. So that is why every space is so sacred. Once I read a great German sculptor mention what is sculpture. He simply says the sculpture is the problem of void and volume. How a volume should be fixed in a void. It is the fundamental conflicts between the Western idea and Indian idea, the Indian context. The so-called modern artists also do not understand what is what of the great tradition. They simply follow the Western principles, the Western school of thought. So there is no continuity in our Indian tradition. There is no connection between these two. So that is why it is our duty. It is a divine duty. We go forward and we have to proclaim and we have to say what about the great Indian tradition. We must follow it. We are not never be ordinary people. We never be. Because we are all the sons and daughters of the great rishis and munis. Every person in our country having the great heritage. That is why we have the gurus. They have their father, forefather. It is according to Rig Veda, 10th Mandala. There are the two suktas dedicated to Lord Vishwakarma, in which we praise him as a father. That is why I have to give some of my ideas, some of the concepts I have received from my father and my forefathers. I would like to share with you. We have, it is not the lecture, it is interactive. We have to exchange our thoughts and ideas, which may enhance the understanding of our Indian culture, which consists of the philosophy, aesthetics, architecture, dance, the n number of activities. So I welcome everybody. Next, madam. About 10 years back, 10 to 15 years back, even my community people asking me, is there any connectivity between the Veda and the Vishwakarma? Because after 1947, the tradition was almost vanished. So they do not have the knowledge about the Vedas, knowledge about the Shilpa text, knowledge about the great artists, knowledge about the composition, everything. They are simply made some sketches and make the carving. They thought it is a very great work. But in Veda, it is a backbone to my community, Vishwakarma community. My family, my father always insists we have to recite the Veda every day. And we have to think about the Vedic gods every second. I'm always going around the idea of the great Lord Vishwakarma. In the 10th mandala of the Rig Veda, it is mentioned that Lord Vishwakarma is praised as all-seeing, having eyes as well as a face, arms, and feet on every side. He is a seer, a priest, our father, Purohita, as well as Vasya, Pitanaha, that he was a father. He is a Vachaspati, Lord of speech. He is source of all prosperity. He is wise, energetic, establisher, and disposer, Dhata Vithada. Having produced the earth and the sky, he is the Lord who had given names to the gods. Is mentioned in the Rig Veda 10th mandala. The Vishwakarma community always depends upon the Veda, especially some of the gods. Very explicitly, we are the Vishwakarma. The Vishwakarma Sukta felt by the Rishi Vishwakarma, Paumana Vishwakarma. So God is Vishwakarma, the Rishi also Vishwakarma. It is explicitly mentioned about the creation of the world, the very foundation and fundamentals of the architecture. It is hidden in the Veda mantras, these mantras. So that is why it is a duty for each and every Vishwakarma to recite the Veda mantra. This was about 100 years or 150 years ago. It was very normal in almost all the Vishwakarma community. But today I do not only one or two families only in the entire South India. The concept, he is a Brahman, he is a Brahmanaspati, he was a creator. What is in the Purusha Sukta? It is in the Vishwakarma Sukta also. So that is why he is the key, he is a key person, God, Parabrahma, Paramatma. He is living in each and every living organic or inorganic. We are always depends upon him. So it is the introduction to Lord Vishwakarma. The community also Vishwakarma. This Veda mantra giving the fundamental ideas for the architecture. It is never been exploded. Only few families having the idea about these suktas. Some of my lecture I elaborated it. So these words are giving us the unique meaning, the inferences. It has lift me to create the temples, to create the irrigation system. It has to create the Pushkarani, everything. So that is why it is the key sukta for the Vishwakarma community. Next. I always give homage to the great saint, kings, and the queens. They were responsible for the construction of the great temples. Next. Homage to the divine architects of the Tanjore Brahadishwara temple. Brahmastri Kunjaramalla Rajaraja Perundachan, Brahmastri Nitta Vinoda Perundachan, Brahmastri Kandaradita Perundachan. The great three architects who designed the entire Tanjore, constructed the wonderful Tanjore Brahadishwara temple. So it is a homage to these great Vishwakarmas. Next. Homage to Brahmastri Parameshwara Perundachan, chief architect of Shri Sundaravaraja Perumal temple of Uttirameru. We have thousands and thousands of temples, but we have few certain important names. The Parameshwara Perundachan, or homage to him. Next. Homage to Kadambarmalai temple chief architect, Brahmastri Akalanga Acharya. A small temple under the hill. The top of the hill, there is Vijayalaya Cholishwaram in Narthamalai. The Kadambarmalai temple is intact about 1,000 years ago, built by Rajendra Chola. So, a great and very beautiful temple. We pay our homage to Akalanga Acharya and his father. Next. One of the greatest temple constructed during the period of Hoysala, the chief architect of the Somanathpur, Brahmastri Mallittamma Acharya. He started his career at the age of 13 at Javahal near Belur, Halibedu. He had constructed more than 13 temples. At the advanced age, he was constructed the Somanathpur. So, our humble prayer, homage and prayers to Mallittamma Acharya. Next. Homage to chief architect of Tanjore, Sri Subramanya temple, Asiri Veerappa Acharya. The great Brigadishwara temple, adjacent to it, within the complex, there is a Subramanya temple in the northwest corner. It is considered as one of the art treasure. It's a wonderful architecture. We have to fix the n number of visual theories, starting from the Gestalt. So very beautiful temple. We have to pay our homage to Sri Subramanya temple architect, Asiri Veerappa Acharya. We are well aware that Percy Brown, considered as a very good architect and art historian, he had written 2 books, one about the Indian architecture regarding the Hindu and Buddhist temples, and another one is Islamic monuments. But he unable to notice an inscription within the temple. It clearly says that the temple constructed by Acharya Acharya. But he mentioned that in his book, there is no inscription in the temple. Instead of one, he put a no. But today, we are so fortunate to pay our humble homage to him. Next. Homage to the chief architect of the Pattadakkal, Virupaksha temple. Pattadakkal known for the complex, temple complex, a cluster of temples, in which two temples are considered as very beautiful. One is the Virupaksha temple. The temple constructed by Sri Sarvasiddhi Acharya and Gunda Tirubhuvana Acharya. Our homage to them. Next. These are all the temples, different temples in the time, in the Chola, constructed during the Chola dynasty. There is no inscriptional evidences available. And who was the chief architect? We do not know. We pay our humble homage to the anonymous saint architects of Chola dynasty. Next. Homage to the great exponents of Indian sacred art tradition. We are slaves for more than 700 years. We are invaded by the militias, barbarians. They don't have any advanced knowledge or even the preliminary knowledge about the aesthetics or the architecture. Our temples were vandalized. After the British rule, they are very clever. Instead of demolishing the temple, except one or two, they imprint the inferiority complex among the native peoples. They had written many articles. Indian do not know anything about the fine arts. India do not have any idea about the fine architecture like that of the Greek and the Rome, the Renaissance or the Gothic. So that is why they are imprint the inferiority complex. That is why still we are not coming out from that slumber. Even the green buildings is a modern prefix to our traditional architecture. But it's a green. They give the criteria. These are all the green buildings. No. So that kind of mental slavery is still in our mind. That is why I have to say many times, Muhammad Ghori, Muhammad Ghazini, they are very merciful persons than that of the Indian government. After 1947, a systematic way, they demolished the Indian knowledge system, traditional knowledge system. Everything native, everything indigenous are inferior to the Western. Even our thought process also changed. We are not thinking about anything and everything, not according to our Indian system. We are tuned, we are programmed to think like that of the Western. So at that time, there are the three great personalities came and give the befitting reply to the entire Western world. They are pay our humble homage to him. The first, next man. Yogi Sri Aurobindo. He gave the befitting reply, very forceful reply to the Western people. What is Indian art? Architecture, painting. What about the Kalidasa, Thiruvalluvar? What about the Vedas? The intricacies of it. So Indian philosophy, Upanishad, and especially to the Indian art. He expanded the idea of Indian art to the Western world. My humble pranam and homage to him. Next. Another great personality, Sri Ananda Kendis Kumaraswamy. We call him A.K. Kumaraswamy. He had written thousands of articles, hundreds of books about Indian art, Indian architecture, Indian philosophy, music, dance, the Vedic ideas, etymology of the Vedic words. It's a greatest personality. It's a very 5 to 10 pages article regarding the dance of Siddha. The entire Western world, the conception regarding the Indian art changed. So it is our duty to think about him and pay our respects to Ananda Kendis Kumara. Next. A great personality, Sir Ernest Brentfield Havel. Generally we call E.B. Havel. A British man, a honest British man, a rare quality among the English people. First, he was a curator to the Calcutta Museum. Then he was appointed as a principal to the Madras Arts College. He had written so many articles about Indian industry, Indian art, Indian architecture, Indian history, especially his articles about art and architecture is so famous. Once he had written a letter to Viceroy while construction was going on at previously Victoria Terminus VT station in Mumbai. The great Sthapatis from the Orissa were used as a coolie. So he was very much worried about the situation. He had written to Viceroy, sir, it is injustice. The great people, architects from the Orissa, they are far superior than that of any architect in UK or Paris. But you are treating them as a coolie. It is injustice to humanity. It had been written very excellent books and articles, especially his letters to the Hindu is very famous. Next. This is my grandfather, the Silpa Samrat, Brahmashri K. Acharya. He was my inspiration. He was very much influenced me during my early age, and still is one of the richest architects in the entire South India, a Vedic scholar. He used all kind of material. He worked in stone, wood, precious metal, the precious stones. As an artist, material is immaterial for him. Next. My father, Silpasastra Acharya in Punjab Pakistan. He taught me the Vedas, Upanishad, Ramayana, Mahabharata. In this very unique way, phonetics and etymology. He's a great architect. He's an engraver. He was very much giving me the knowledge and much more influencing me each and every day. Next. So we are going to what is sacred space and the asset. It's interlinked. Every civilization has its own aim. But the Indian civilization is something different. Indian civilization is not only a great cultural system, but also an immense religious effort of the human spirit. A spiritual aspiration is a governing force of this culture, its core of thought and its ruling passion. We are together today. We exchange our ideas regarding our Indian spirituality. The Upanishad mantras and Veda mantras were chanted. Because only because of this culture, it is very unique. What Carl Jung says, the collective unconsciousness. That is the prime factor for us to gather together. We are thinking about our system, our culture, our spirituality, our art and architecture. So, a spiritual aspiration was a governing force of this culture, its core of thought and its ruling passion. Whether it is art, architecture, poetry, philosophy, everything revolving around this spirituality. So, our culture, our civilizational aim is something very different compared to that of the others. Next. What Mr. E.B. Havel says, the Indian art is essentially idealistic, mystic, symbolic, and transcendent. The artist is both as a priest and poet. The art of India is a great synthesis, it's embracing various theological concept elements, but inspired by the common idea. The common ideal spring from the Vedas and the Upanishads. It is a really mystic and a symbolic. In our temples, we have the hundreds of pillars are there. The pillars are not as a element in the civilization. It is a carved, it is architectural elements. The pillar is something very different in our Indian architectural. Traditionally, it is very different. We call it as a pillar as a god. Wherever the pillar is standing in our temple, that point is a most energetic and vibrant place. That is why the Havel says Indian art is essentially idealistic, mystic, and symbolic. Next. Again, we have to quote Shri. The more ancient and sculptural art of India embodies in visible form what the Upanishads throw out into inspired thought. And Ramayana and Mahabharata portrayed by the word in life. Indian architecture sculpture is concerned with embodying his spiritual experiences and impressions not with the recording or glorifying what is received by the physical. The Indian architect and sculptor concerned with that of his own spiritual experience and impression. How to get this spiritual experience? Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Pratyagara, Dharana, Samadhi, Vikalpa Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This is going on. So, if your architect having such a practice, then only he had to attain such a level to experience the first-hand experience of the spirituality. So his own spiritual experiences were converted into the temple, is converted into the temple elements. Even the smallest curve in the temple, it is a spiritual experience of that particular architect. Next. There is one sacred book, it is called the Silpasastra Upanishad. It is one of the revered and rare book also. The text preserved in Andhra Pradesh mostly. Whether knowingly or unknowingly, in every marriage, they have to print small books pertaining to the Vishwakarma tradition and they publish. The tradition was about 200, 300 years. But in Tamil Nadu, we have a tradition to copying of the Mayamata Manasara and Sakaladhikara, Brahmiya Chitrakarma Shastra. These texts is giving training to the young student to write. How to write in Sanskrit, in the Grantha. So it is a practice in Tamil Nadu. So Silpavidya Rahasya Upanishad is very rare. It contains the entire issues. Because Upanishad, we know, this very short form. The Silpavidya says the spirituality is the secret of art. Silpam becomes a sacrifice. Sacrifice is not suffering. Silpam becomes yajna. Yajna is offering. Yajna is the enjoyment. Yajna is the fulfillment. Yajna is the greatest spiritual experience. That is why the Silpam become sacred. The Silpam become Yajnam Bhavatu. Silpam Yajnam Bhavatu. The spirituality is the secret of art, Guhya Vidya. Guhya we know from the root of Gu is started. Guhya. The same in Tamil word we called Guhai. Guhya. Place, it is a secret. So spirituality is the secret of art. The art without spirituality is not at all art. The architecture without spirituality is not at all architecture. Some people say that in ancient and medieval India, there are several secular buildings. What nonsense it is. There is no secular building in our country. The entire Bharatavarsha was cleanly surveyed by our ancestors, rishis and munis. Even the forests, even the caves, even the hills, mountains, everything was surveyed by our ancestors. Sitting alone in the forest, just close their eyes. They traveled inside. What is what of the universe? The great mystic factor of the universe. Not only the universe consisting of this sun family, no. It is of the entire cosmic universe. how it is a rhythmic way they are functioning. So that is why the Veda says that Rutam Satyam, the twin words. Rutam, the cosmic order. Satyam, truth. Which one is behold? Rutam. The cosmic order. So that is why the same cosmic order is converted into the architecture. So in our country, every street corner, every house is a place of worship. It has this sacred. It is sacred. So that is why the Silpa Vidya Ragasya Upanishad says simply the spirituality is the secret of art. How to town plan, how to make the town plan, village plan, how to make the Yogasala, universities, even the Vishwakarma Vastu there is a clear-cut ideas about the open theatre. It is also mentioning about the small school, big school, university level, auditoriums, everything mentioned. So it is all come under the purview of the spirituality. Silpam becomes a sacrifice. The philosophical intentions are become architecture. The philosophical idea, what Aurobindo says, the Upanishad, what to throw out in the Upanishad, what is coming from the Upanishad, are converted into the architecture. So the spirituality is the secret of art. It's a key word. Silpam become sacrifice. Next. We may pose a question, why is it just like that of the Vitruvius, the great 10 books of architecture. It is merely the 10 chapters of architecture. Not the 10 voluminous. No, it is not the 10 books of architecture. We are not open. Why? One of the leading principles of the mystic was the sacredness and the secrecy of self-knowledge and the true knowledge of the gods. Because the spiritual experience itself is very personal. That is why they kept it as very secret. The wisdom was, they thought, unfit to ordinary human mind, perversion and misuse and the loss of virtue, if revealed to the improper and unpurified spirits, unpurified human beings. It is not just like that your book to read and write examination. It will be coming out. But it has to be experienced. The experience is not in the human level, in the vital level. It has to be experienced in the conscious level or the supra-conscious level. That is why the secrecy was maintained in the architecture. Even for the next thousands of years, nobody has to decode it, the Silpa text. Some of the great, the Sanskrit scholar says there is Silpa text not in proper order. There are a lot of grammatical errors. The language is so barbaric. So, n number of comments about the Silpa text. My only answer to them, it is a technical book. If the atomic physics is written a thesis, a new kind of invention for a power plant, he never goes to an English professor to make the grammatical, rectify the grammatical error and punctuation marks. His own peer group is a similar atomic scientist. That is why the Silpa text is purely a technical. There is no need for this going for the small errors in the grammar. The least bother about. What is the essence of it? The key words, that is the essence of it. That is why the Silpa text is always kept in the secret. Next. Why it is not to be shared with the unqualified person? It is shared with the unpurified heart, the unpurified sense, and unpurified life. Heart, sense, and unpurified life confuse the understanding, disturb its data, distort its conclusion, darken its sea, misapply its knowledge, and unpurified physical system. Clocks are choked into the action. There must be an integral purity. There must be an integral. That is why the impurity is not a person without any qualification in heart, in sense, in life. He is unfit for the reading of the Silpa text. It is mentioned in the Silpa text itself. Next. You are well aware of that the impulsion towards architecture, according to Percy Brown, the Greek architecture is a refined perfection. The Roman is a remarkable scientific construction. Gothic, condition of passionate energy. European Renaissance scholarship at its own time. But Indian is outstanding quality of its spiritual content. For easy understanding, according to Percy Brown. Next. These are a palm leaf manuscript. There are in the Silpasastra, every Silpasastra written in palm leaf. We have a very good collection in my family. Almost many Silpa texts. Next. The illustrations also engraved in the palm leaf manuscript. Here the famous temple in Lingaraja temple in Orissa, Bhubaneswar. The temple is there, the drawing illustration is the next to it. Next. This is not only elevation, the ground plan is most important. The ground plan also inscribed in the palm leaf manuscript. In the right side, there is an Stapati working in the Avadayar Koil temple in the year of 1907. The photograph prepared by, the photograph taken by under the instruction of Ananda Kumaraswamy. It is a traditional technique. They have to draw everything in a wall of a temple itself, in the temple premises itself, to making the 1:1. So this is one of the rare photographs. Next. So how many Silpasastras are available? First we have to Sastra, we know. The Sastra is written by Munis and Rishis in almost every subject. They are experimented, experienced, then codified in the text. The codified texts are called Sastra. What about the Silpasastra? What is the definition for the Silpasastra according to Kashyapa Silpasastra? Mahartha Alpa Grantaha. Mahartha, the Artha must be, the meaning must be, the expansion must be very big. Alpa Grantaha, in small verses. The great issues, the great architectural and sculptural and philosophical issues, condensed in a few words, and if it is put in a text, it is called a Silpa text, according to Kashyapa Silpasastra. It is 100% true. Some of the text here I mentioned Vishwakarma Prakasa, Vishwakarma Darshana, Vishwakarma Vastasastra, Vishwakarma Vamsakama, Manasara, Mayamata, Moolastampa, Sakalajgara, Saraswati Chitrakarma, Samarangana Sutradhara, Silpa Rathina, Silpa Prakasa, Silpa Kashyapa, Silpa Vidya Rahasya Upanesh, and Kargaya, in which the very later work is Silpa Rathina. Very, very later work. It is in the 16th or the 17th century. That is why it is incorporated the verses from the other Silpa text. From the Silpa Rathina, then it is a Manasaliya Chandrika, Bhasha, and other, the Malayalam Silpa text, everything is come after the Silpa Rathina. So Silpa Rathina is a very later work. Most of its verses regarding the architecture is taken from the Kashyapa Silpasastra. In the iconographical slokas are taken from the different texts, even from the tantric text are taken. So it is just for information. If anybody insisting at the Silparatna as a very base or the essence for it, you have to go and refer the Kashyapa Silpasastra. Next. The saint authors of the Silpasastra, this is a Vishwakarma Day, we have to think. That is it is a Maima Manasara. There is one chapter, it is called Madhu Uchishta Vidana. Madhu Uchishta Vidana is about a making of the sculpture by the beeswax. So in this chapter, the Manasara Rishi is giving the names of the saint authors of other Silpa texts. That is Vishwakarma, Vishwasara, Vishweshak, Prabodhaka. This is a number of lists. 32 rishis are mentioned. Here I wish to mention one point, very clear point, it is very essential. So these are the texts written by the great Munis and Rishis. Nowadays, the people are doing according to their whims and fancies of their own, or according to their client. They do not know, most of them do not know the Sanskrit, as well as the intricacy of the language. So that is why they say, 2 days back, one architect spoken to me. He says that, sir, why you are bothered about all these calculations, sir? Shastra, sir. What in the Shastra say? Sabadi yuktena yukti. What a foolishness it is. In Silpa text, it says that very rarely you have to add 1 angula or the 2 angula, not the 1 feet or 1 danda or the 2 danda, or 1 raju or the 2 raju, or 1 kishkumula or the 3 kishkumula. No, it is talking about the small variations of the 1 angula or the 2 angula to be adopted by the artist to enhance the beauty. But it is a condition. What is the condition? Even though you are adding 1 angula or the 2 angula, it must be in any one of the Silpa texts, not according to your own idea. If you are family, every Vishwakarma family adopting 1 Silpa text or the 2, they are based upon that the constructor, the temples according to that text. It must be in conformity with that of the other text also. So, if some matter is not in one text, we must be referred to the other text also. If it is not mentioned in the other text, we must not go further into. But people are very false meaning. 1 or 2 angulas is adjustable. No, it is never mentioned in this. Very clear-cut instruction given in this Shastra. What will happen? The effect also mentioned in it. If you increases 1 feet or the 2 feet for the beauty, what will the effects to the architects or to the karta or to the workers? It will happen. It is also mentioned. So that is why the rules are very strict. Next. Next minute. These are the saying. So the Vishwakarma tradition, the architect in the hierarchy, Takshaka, Vardahi, Sudragrahi, and the Vishwakarma. That is Stapati, chief architect. It is a hierarchy. From the lower level in the ascending order. Next. So the qualification of this Stapati. I already mentioned that the spirituality is important, Veda is important. So what is the qualification for it? A quick survey of it. Next. The basic qualification of a Stapati, I understand that Mrs. Sasikala Anand, well aware of it. Probably she may discuss it with you in several times. So I have to a quick reading of it. So hail from the Vishwakarma community, born from a noble family, excellence in Veda, excellence in Silpasastra, well versed in the Puranas. These are the basic qualities. Next. Expert in the following subjects: astronomy, astrology, mathematics, philosophy, etymology. It is a n number of subjects is connected. May I request you, kindly remember your temple which is very near to your mind or you are often visiting. So just imagine that temple and you have to connect with these subjects. If it is Ellora, you connect with it. Whether the astrology is followed there, mathematics followed there, philosophy is there, sculpture. If a sculpture is there, the philosophy is there. So you have to connect with any temple. Next. The personal quality. It is very, very important. Very, very important. Compassionate, self-control, always speak truth, charitable in giving food, firm in decision making, faithful to his friends, soft spoken, sweet tongued, always happy in mind, should not be greedy, should be free from gambling, hunting, daydreaming, blackmailing, addiction to liquor and woman, should always curious to learn other sciences, should have inclination to learn from the others. These are all the personal qualities. Please note that all our temples were designed and constructed by the persons, those having these qualifications. Next. So, it is very interesting. Every book, every article, every seminar regarding the Indian architecture, they start from the Ramras. Ramras is not a tall architect. He was a clerk and elevated to some official level only because of his knowledge in English. He had written a book, the Essays on the Architecture of Windows. That is the very first book in English. In English, he was not at all a practitioner. He even do not know the Sanskrit. Simply know the English. He had written a book. Now it is wide, and every article is started from the Ram. So 1827, one collector of Tanjore asked him, with a very big temple, there is some theory behind it. Construction manual maybe, please search and give. So he searched and searched, he collected the Manasara and some other text also. So he had written one book, the essays on the architecture of Hindus and the illustrations also. It is again and again coming. So this is the background of Ramaraj. And he had written, the people, almost everybody, again and again refer the Ramaraj, but they are conveniently forget his introduction. In introduction, what it is, I often attempted to unravel it, that is the Silpa text, with the assistance of many artists and pandits who had been supposed to know anything of the matter and as often despaired of meeting with any success at length. So he tried to decode the Silpa text, but he was unable, because in which he very clearly mentioned artists as well as the pandits. The Sanskrit pandits, it is not possible for them to decode because they are not the technical people. The same mistake was happened to the P.K. Acharya's the great Manasara series. He is a Sanskrit professor. He is unable to decode the technical terminology. That is why most of his translation is a completely error or some kind of error. So the same thing was happened. It is mentioned in Ramaraj in 1827. I have fortunately found a good sculptor of the Kamata, that is a Kamala tribe, a native of Tanjavur, who is well acquainted with the practical part of the Hindu architecture and with most of the terms used in the art. With his valuable aid, I have already been enabled to solve many intricate problems and to remove many difficulties against which I had long been struggling. So what the relevance of Sasikala Anand, I am with folded hands in front of Sasikala ji, arranging such a Vishwakarma. Because in 1827, a person first decoded, tried to decode it by one Vishwakarma, that is a Kamala tribe from native of Tanjavur. Next. So in the qualifications, somebody not understood properly, because the inscription regarding the architect never appeared. The inscriptions are forgotten, inscriptions are neglected, it's not printed also. Most of them. But one inscription I want to tell you, inscription from Chennarayan Pattinam about the architect Vishwanatha. Vishwanatha is the architect. The qualification mentioned in the Silpa text, it is a tally with that of the inscription. He is born in the family of Vishwakarma, the architect of three worlds, Vishwanatha, son of Basavacharya, who was the son of Odayappa, considered being the Jagat Guru. The architect, because of his personal qualities and the knowledge, he was being considered as a Jagat Guru. It is mentioned in the Epigraphic Karnataka, volume number 5. Chennarayan. Next. There are two inscriptions in the Virupaksha temple. The temple designed by Sri Saraswati Acharya and Gunda Anavarda Acharya. The entrance of the temple, the left and right side, not about the king or the Lokama Devi who is behind the construction of the temple, but there is no mentioning about them, no inscription at all. It is talking about the architects. Next. It mentioned the left side. It talks about the Sarvasiddhi Acharya, the Ashlim of virtuous qualities, the Pitamaha, the creator, the maker of many cities and houses, whose conversation is entirely perfect and refined. He is hailed as jeweled crown and the crushed jewel in the field of constructing palaces, temples, vehicles, seat and couches, the most eminent Sudragrahin of the southern country. It is completely tally with that of the Mayamad. Yana, Sayana, Vimana. What is how the Vastu is classified? Yana, Sayana, Vimana, etc. The inscription is a tally with the qualification mentioned in the Shastra is completely in conformity with that of the inscription. So there are many inscriptions about it, but I have to simply leave it because of lack of time. And Madam, you jump into the 44. Slide number 44. The Shilpa as per the Vedas. The Veda says about the Shilpa. There is synonymous for the Shilpa. The Shilpa consists of every art and craft. So it called as Acharya Karma, Bahurupa, Bala, Chitrarupa, Karma Kausala, Samarthya, Sukshama Karma, and Yoga. The act of wonder, multiform, capacity, eliminating form, dexterity of action, dexterity, propensity, subtle act, contemplation. So these are all the synonymous words for the architecture and sculpture. Next. Nowadays, there is a thing is going on. Regarding the architecture, describing the Indian architecture, the great temples, they are always insisting how to map. Whether they are interviewing a person, immediately he sits in front of a very big block of granite, and it is a granite, and we have to dress it, we have to make a central line. So these are all means, and we have to use the chisels and the hammer. Yes, these are all very important. I know very well. They are not asking about how you are doing the work. This is the procedure. Everywhere in the world, it's the same kind was adopted. How you are doing this culture. So no, it is not at all. It is a very trivial matter. What is the concept behind it? How they conceived the idea of the architecture, temple. How they adopted a technicality. How they adopt a technique. How they imprint their spiritual experiences. That is important. That is why the history of art, when it is an art of means, not inspiration, prophecy, or the revelation, is a preferred. What is most important? The inspiration of the architects, the prophecy, and the revelation, that is most important than that of act of means. Then art does not lie with means. It lies in its mission, in its purpose, in its message, in its prophecy. Art conscious is an individual possession of universality. We may talk about the Tatvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, all these are. So art consciousness is an individual possession of universality. It is a great harmony with the understanding of spiritual significance of form, of the visible godly fabric. These are all most important. The first point is always everywhere, everywhere, every book, every video. How you are not? No. Why? And how our ancestors were met. That is important. Next. Everybody know the Vedas. Veda is called the Shruti, not the Smriti. Next minute. 46. The Veda means knowledge called Shruti. It is not the Smriti. Shruti means heard. For rishis having such a great spiritual experience, spiritual capability, there is no ear required for him to receive the words of God. So while they traveling inside, they felt something that is coming out, that is called a Shruti. The rishis are dependent on inner experience and suggestions of the intuitive mind for all knowledge that ranged beyond mankind's ordinary perception and activities. They are codified, written in the Vedas. So these are all the seed bed for any kind of knowledge in our system. As an architect, I have to write the Vedas. It gives inspiration for me to design, to construct a temple. If it is for the Ayurveda, if they read the Veda, it gives the inspiration, intuition for him how to make the medicines more vibrant. So that is why, that is the universality, the oneness of the Veda. Next. The purpose and training of the Shastra. The purpose of the training, Shastra implies that the student probably sent to recognize and experience a rare kind of aesthetic spiritual experience to adopt and to make the work progress. A rare kind of aesthetic and spiritual experience, it must be. The mantra can not only create a new subjective state in ourselves and transmit into the physical existence. That is the requirement for today. The mantra, whether it were taken from the Veda or from the Upanishad, the mantra can not only create a new subjective state in ourselves and transmitting. Here, there is one point. Even we have a different subjective state during our meditation and the recitation of the Upanishad mantra, Veda mantra. We many times we may not aware of it. The mantra having the capability and capacity to mingle yourself, not in your physical body, in your conscious level. It goes up to the level of the supra-conscious level. It is never restricted itself with our nervous system, not to the nervous system, but it's go beyond. It's a travel is more strong. It's a travel is more speed. It's a more dynamic. That is why the mantras are giving you the one peak to another peak, the subjective state. It may convert into a small curve in it, or a pillar in it. It may elevate the artist, the architect. At the same time, I am more than 100% sure if a person crossing a pillar, crossing a niche, at the ghost in a temple, definitely the pillars interact with that person. They interact with each and every visitor of the temple. It has to interact with the conscious and supra-conscious level. We may not aware of it, but it was definitely. Next. My family insists that the Veda and the Silpasastra must be live within me as a part of my mental organization, accompanying and conditioning every idea and every detail in my perception and representation. Many times my father told me, while I was very young, my father taken water from the well and pour it on me and reciting the mantra of Purusha Sukta, Sahasra Shri Purusha. My grandmother sometimes shouted, he is a very small boy. Why you are putting a lot of water on? Later on, my father told me, I reciting the Veda mantras and pouring water on you because your body must be purified. Not only your body, your mind also, everything is to be changed. The body must be just like that of mantra. The mantra mingled with your veins, mingled with your blood. It is a part and parcel of your system. That is why the Veda mantras always condition the idea. It's every Vishwakarma family that was it. Every family, not only restricted to Vishwakarma community, but every family. What about the next one? Art is not a technique, a form of beauty, or the discovery or expression of beauty. It is a self-expression of consciousness under the condition of aesthetic vision and the perfect execution. So it is not the technique, what we call as a balance, symmetry, foreclosure. All these things are the basic laws are there, as well as the center of gravity. So these are all the physical laws we must obey. But apart from all these things, there is some expression of the beauty must come. So it is mentioned in the Shilpa text in several times. Sarvabharana Bhushitam, it is mentioned. What is the Bhushita? It simply says it's decorated with all kind of ornaments. This is something more, much more than that. So beauty is the self-expression. Next.
So
The
I just
drishti.
want to point out that if we can wrap up in next 15 minutes in the
Yes,
interest
yes,
of the time.
yes,
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Drishti, it is an internal vision. The internal vision, drishti, we have two words, pratyaksha and paroksha. Pratyaksha is visible, paroksha is invisible. The internal vision, drishti, the power so highly valued by the ancient age sages, the power which made a rishi or kavi, and no longer a mere thinker, is a sort of light in the soul by which unseen become an evident and real things. The soul, and not merely to the intellect, as to things seen to the physical eye. What is invisible? Paroksha. The paroksha is the drishti. It is several times it is mentioned. It is an architect as an architect. Well, my field visit or the site visit, I must be enter into it. What Shastra mentioned, you have to look upon it first. Drishti. Then it is not a mere gazing, mere seeing or surveying, but I must interact with the powers residing there. Devatas are residing there. I have to interact. That is called drishti. Next. How it is coming? Some of the words are vapus. What is the beauty? The beauty mentioned in the Veda in such a way, subsequent words that Vapus, Chitra, Kalyana, Rupa, Bhadra, and Pratima. These are the words. Chitra, you know, Chitra, Chitrartha, Chitra Abhasa, Rupa. A clear word in the Veda is Rupa, 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 Priti Rupa. Pratima. So Kalyana is also beauty. Bhadra, Bhadram, Karma, Visunyama, Deva. These are all Bhadra. Is also beauty. That is why in some only one big Silpa text, a single word used to denote the form is called the Vapu. The Vapu is the only word used in the text, not other words. So the Vapu is in the Veda and it has a n number of meanings. Yes. The Vapus is called as a beautiful meaning, a beautiful form, wonderful appearance, embodiment, essence of nature, extraordinary appearance, resplendent, splendid. The Vapu have the n number of meaning, all these. See, everything is a content, sir. And what is the real meaning of the Vapus in the Veda? It says the mystic value. It is not the beauty. Which factor is giving the beauty to the flower? In what part of the architectural element is giving beauty, whether it's a curve or the straight line? No. What it is mentioned in the Kena Upanishad, it is the eye of the eye, mind of the mind. That is clearly echoed in the word Vapus. It is a, which one is given in the Vapus is a mystic one. It's not the form. The form is beautiful, okay, but what is the factor behind it? That is mystic. It is to be understood only by the yoga and the jnana. Next. Only 2 slides, I will finish up within the 2 minutes. The process of the temple construction. As I just mentioned about the Vapus, the Kalyana, Ranva, all these words are giving clear-cut idea of the Indian aesthetics. The Indian aesthetics is always fixed in the word of the rasa theory. Apart from the rasa theory, the Vedic words are giving very clear-cut idea about how the spiritual mission is more important to understand the beauty. The Silpa text mention how to expose the beauty. So, in the temple, process of temple construction, a Vishwakarma in the left side, go for the meditation, yama, niyama, pranayama, pratyagara, dharana, and the trance, that is a Vikalpa Samadhi, and Vikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he visualized the God, he visualized the temple, form of the temple. So he come down from the Nirvikalpa Samadhi and he has to draw and he has to conceive the idea in a very constructive way. That is one half. The right hand side, we devotees visualizing the temple, taking namaskara to the God, prayer, mantras, everything, and we go for the trance and the soul realization must be. It is not possible for us visualizing the temple, we immediately not going for the trance level. It is not possible. It is for yogis and munis, it is possible. So this is the core idea behind the temple construction process, and you are all well aware of the another subject, this is Vastu. It is called Vastu Mandala. The Vastu Mandala start with of the Shakala and it's go up to the Indragant. The Shakala is the one square. Probably in another dimension, it may be the rectangle. We are well aware of that circle and the square, the relationship between the two. In the square, it is called, one square is called the Shakala. The Shakala is divided into the 4, it is a Pechaka. And it's go on up to the level of 13 rows and 13 columns of grid system is followed, in which it is a Indragan. It's a mostly in the Vastu, we are mapping in the 81 grid system. The 81 grid systems is surrounded by so many gods, 49 gods are there. That is why the people are saying them, Vastu. This is sacred. How it is coming sacred? Because it is coming out of the scriptures in the different grid system for the different levels. For simple example, in your home you are performing Homa, Ganapati Homa, whatever the Homa you are doing, the Yajnakuta is a very small square. So within the small square, you are giving Samit as well as the Ghee. All the gods are invited, that is called the Sakala. Just the smallest definition. So if it is a Sakala, it is divided into the different grid system. In each and every grid, there are the Devatas are there. So that is why in India, all over India, even the people say Nagara, Dravida, Vesara, Kalinga, Bhumija. So all these varieties of the temple. But it is only the changes in the elevation and nothing in that of the ground. So that is why the Vastu Mandala, there is no word the Vastu Mandala as the Vastu Purusha Mandala, it is simply the Padavinyasa. The Shashikala may very much well aware of the Padavinyasa. It is actually Padavinyasa. The Stella Karamniti started with all these things of Vastu Purusha Mandala. It is a fancy word, but it is only Padavinyasa. In the Padavinyasa, the Devatas are invoked in a particular way. Please, madam, you change the slide 65. 65. This is a process of temple. Yeah, this is a Vastu Mandala. It is a Padavinyasa. The different shades are given for the different devatas. The center is one. If you fix a two square combined together, it makes the rectangle. And another one, this is the best example, is a Tanjore Bragadishwaratam. Next one. It is three squares. The Padavinyasa, here it is very difficult to give the Padavinyasa. For squares are joined together, as per the Shastra, whether it is a 81 grid, Paramasayi Pada, 1 Paramasayi, 2 or 3, is a whole is also. Just like that of one square as a Sakala is converted into the 81 grids or the 32 grids. So similarly, the three squares are joined together. So distribution of the Padavinyasa is most important. It is not only the Padavinyasa, it is a looking after it. So there's a drishti as well as of the internal drishti as well as that of the mantras. These are invoking the deity for the first time, as well as we have to offering also to these deities. That is one of the most important. So I have my thanks to Mr. Shashikala as well as to the Ritambhara for inviting me. I exceeded some time because something it needed the lot of this. Thank you very much. If any questions, briefly I answer.
Thank you, Umapathy ji. That was a very illuminating talk. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, sir. It was a really insightful session. So before opening up to the question answers, I'll just read to you some comments while during the session that people had said. So Kiran had said, very informative session. From Chandana, beautiful. From Anand, Acharya, your words are almost like mantra to us. They have so much within them. Thank you. From Saurav, Namaskaram, Acharya ji. Thank you for sharing the wealth of knowledge with us. It was highly insightful. And from Vikas, thanks a lot, Acharya ji. So I now open up for questions. If anybody wants to ask a question, you can put it on the chat or you can raise hand and we can
About
just...
4 or 5 because we still have one more speaker
Yes.
and we don't want to run out of time for him. So stick to about 4 or 5 questions only. Okay.
Yes. So you can put the question either in the chat box or just raise hand so you can unmute and ask your question. Yes, Shailaja, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Namaskaram, Shri Umapathy Acharya ji and Ritambhara team. Thank you so much for organizing this. So my question is that I have graduated recently from architecture. It's been 3 years since I've graduated, and for me now to begin with all of this, just now when you were talking about qualifications that an architect has to have, for us to understand these, the traditional knowledge that has been shared, and you've had the privilege to come from a community like that where your father and your grandfather and your whole family, you've inherited that. But so for us, where to begin and how to continue this journey, and I'm fortunate to have found Ritambhara and this team, and to have dived into this. But how do we take this forward? And yeah, please throw some light on that.
I
You
think
have to-
Anand's question is in the same area, Ma.
Yes.
So maybe you could read that out also.
Yes, yes. Sir,
Seems
also,
to be the same.
yeah, there's another very similar question, which is with so many of us architects trained in Western philosophy, what would be your advice for us to reconnect with our traditional systems?
So it is better you have to focus yourself on the Vedic studies. There is one author, Aral Kashyap, in a Sakshi, a publishing house in Bangalore. They are regularly publishing the Vedas. Professor Aral Kashyap translated almost all the Vedas. His writings always based upon the Sri Aurobindo as well as Mother and P.M. Kabali Shastri. So it is one thing. And second, you go for the temples and you have to copy it and you have to research it yourselves. And one of the thing is, if you were in meditation, if you meditate, again, that is our Indian system, just going for the meditation and meditation with some specific mantras. And our intuitions may increase and your understanding also increase. So that is why you start with that of some of the good books. My humble request to you, you start with the Ananda Kumaraswami's work. I think so it may help you very much. Then you go for the Vedic and Upanishad studies. Not Upanishad, Sri Aurobindo had written about Upanishad. So that is one of the reliable source. So Ananda Kumaraswamy, E.B. Havel, and then you go for the Vedic studies and Upanishad. It may help. And as well as Dhyana and meditation is the most core part of it. So Mr. Sasikala Anand may help. Thank you.
I am helping Umapathy ji, but there is a lot that the traditionalists will have to keep offering also. Because I am only
Yes,
an
yes.
interpreter at one level. Yeah.
So there is one more question which says, please talk more about the Indian aesthetics and architecture. From Nita.
Yes, it is a very difficult part. because most of the aesthetic theories are restricted with the rasa theory in the olden times about 25, 30 years back. Here again, it is, while the Vedas, they are always on the spirituality something. Regarding the Indian aesthetics in particularly, you go for the Kalidasa and study it. Even the translations are available. So don't be worried about the Sanskrit language. You have, so depends upon some very good authors are there. And you have to study Indian aesthetics from the original sources, not from the secondary sources. That is a Kalidasa may very much help. As well as regarding the philosophy, Surendranath Dasgupta. Surendranath Dasgupta is about the 6 volumes of Indian philosophy. It may also help. It is not a direct connection, but they are all the steps to understand the Indian aesthetics. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There is one more very specific question, which is what is the measurement of 1 angula? Is it 3/4 of an inch as per the P.K. Acharya's Manasara?
So actually, the angula, there is a little bit of a confusion because 33 inches of British something, this several times is coming. But actually it is not. If you are going to construct a residential building or the temple, you have to take the measurement of the Karta or the Yajamana. From the Karta or Yajamana, that is, if it is a small thing, so right hand, middle finger, middle part, it is consists of angula. Right hand, middle finger, middle index. That is 1 angula of that particular person. So you have to add 24 angulas or 25 Prajapatya. So you use that angula only. That is called a Matra angula. Regarding the Manangula also, we are taken from following the same rule. Not the new type, almost most of them are building our homes. So taking the Matra angula. So Matra angula and Manangula has a very vast difference. I am always using the Matra angula because I am constructing the new temple. So there is a one Yajamana is there, one Karta is there. For regarding the houses and the rectification for the houses, the Vastu consultancy, etc., I am also using the same Matra angula only. So Matra angula is good and safe for everything. So don't be confused about the 33 angulas it is mentioned. I do not know how they are arrived, whether they are taken from somewhere else, because some inscription in Karnataka, also in Tamil Nadu, there are some Muram is marked in the temples, in the inscriptions also. But they are used measuring of the land. There is no specific Muram, but because we have to arrive the extension of the temple, there are 8 parts are given. For one part, it is a Suddha Dwara, that is a doorway, the clear doorway measurement of height and width. Or the Adhisthana, we have to take that measurement as the standard. So there is no confusion will come out because we have to use the extension of the temple, use the Adhisthana as a measurement, or the Suddha Dwara as a measurement, or a pillar as a standard measurement. For constructing a house, or a farmhouse, or very big land, whatever may be, it is always using the Matrangula. Manangula, Matrangula, and the Dehalarthangula. Dehalarthangula may not come for the architect. For architect, only come for the Matrangula. Regarding the Prasanna Kumar P.K. Acharya, it is a very voluminous work. It is an unbelievable work. was done for more than 25 years. He had come out with the 7 volumes of book on the Manasa. But the difficulty is, he is unable to decode the technicalities. That is the difficulty. Otherwise, you have to sit along with a very good experienced architect like Shashikalaji, and you have to, the mistakes to be rectified. I am not washed out, the whole is not wrong, but there are some portions. So many times, he unable to understand the specific words. For example, the starting, it is mentioned that Vishwakarma. What he mentioned, what he translated in original text Vishwakarma, P.K. Acharya says the great Shiva. So, like that, there are so many mistakes. One great scholar, Dr. Prabhakar Apte, is very much my close friend as well as to Shashikalaji also. He told me again and again, you are talking about P.K. Acharya. But we sit together, we read one chapter of Linga and we had come out. So he told me that he, without understanding of the topic, he translated. So that is why I am not brushed. I acknowledge, admire P.K. Acharya, but at the same time, there are shortcomings also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we'll just take last 2 questions. There is one about Kumbakonam has number of sthapatis. Can you please share with us a bit about its history being cultural and education center? So a little bit about the Kumbakonam.
Actually, so everything is commercialized. And the suffix, now the Sthapati terminology not restricted to Vishwakarma community. Anybody can, the prefix or the suffix as Sthapati. That is, nowadays it is a very fashion here. Whoever working, even the painter in the temple also having the suffix as Sthapati. So, reading in a very systematic way is very rare. Nowadays it is not possible also. So I have my own Shishyas. My Shishyas are very good command in the Sanskrit language. They are well aware of the Vedas, specific parts of the Veda, and as well as of the Shilpa text. And a drawing, engraving, or a construction of the temple, and Manangala and Matrangala, as well as iconometry also. They are very excellent people, small but very young people are there with me. So this way I am slowly infusing my knowledge and sharing my knowledge with the youngsters. But I am unable to give any person as a very great masters of it. I do not know anybody.
So it's very great that you mentioned that, because one of the question actually is asking if there are any specific gurukuls or ashram that offer the Vedic knowledge and Upanishads related to architecture. So
at present there is no such. Previously we are trying to initiate it, but it was not worked out. At present there is no such thing.
okay, sir. So
I think we'll have to stop here, Ma, because
yes, ma'am.
we are running out of. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Again, my namaskaram to each and every participant and my gratitude to Mrs. Sasikala. Namaste.
Thank you.
Om
Acharya.
Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you. So I now invite Priya to introduce our next invitee and speaker, Shri Rathina Bhaskar. So over to you, Priya.
Thank you, Shivangi. So before introducing author Rathina Bhaskar, I would like to show a small glimpse of a video of his recently launched book, The Monoliths of Pudumandapam.
Priya, don't forget to share the computer sound while you're sharing.
Yeah.
வணக்கம். திருமலை நாயக்கர் மன்னர் நமக்களித்த மதுரையின் மகத்தான 377 வருட பழமையான புது மண்டபத்தின் ஒற்றைக்கல் சிற்பங்களை ஓவியர் எம். ரத்தின பாஸ்கர் கோட்டு ஓவியங்களாக்கி ஒளி ஓவியங்கள் என்னும் இந்த புத்தகத்தை 8 வருட உழைப்பில் உருவாக்கியுள்ளார். ஒளி ஓவியங்கள் என்ற இந்த புத்தகத்தில் தெய்வங்களின் திருவுருவச் சிற்பங்கள், முனிவர்களின் சிற்பங்கள், நாயக்க மன்னர்களின் உருவச் சிற்பங்கள், யாழி சிற்பங்கள் மற்றும் நுட்பமான சக்கரங்கள் என 61 சிற்பங்களின் கோட்டோவியங்கள் நேர், இடது, வலது என 3 வகையான பார்வையில் வரையப்பட்டுள்ளது. மேலும் சிற்பங்களின் விவரங்களும் கொடுக்கப்பட்டுள்ளன. ஒளி ஓவியங்கள் புத்தகமானது தமிழக அமைச்சர் பெருமக்கள், பண்பாளர்கள் மற்றும் அதிகாரிகளின் வாழ்த்துரைகளோடு 144 பக்கங்களில் தரமான காகிதத்தில் அச்சிடப்பட்டு உங்களுக்காக காத்திருக்கிறது. தொடர்புக்கு எம். ரத்தின பாஸ்கர் 98 433 14 049. வணக்கம். திருமலை.
So he will be going into the details and giving us a brief about what the book contains. So before that, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce him. M. Rathina Bhaskar developed his drawing skills from a very young age with his constant encouragement from his school teachers. In the year 1988, the first timely Dinamalar Siruvalar magazine published his drawing, and in the year 89, in view of the safety week, his drawing was placed first in the district by Pandian Roadways Corporation and received laurels from the collector, Mr. Devaraj. He further groomed his drawing skills and won a lot of acclaim during his graduation. He has done his graduation in BA Economics from American College, Madurai. He has received notable laurels, medals in the Youth Festival hosted by Madurai Kamarajar University, held in Dindigul, Satur, Trichy, and Tiruchendur. He was also an active participant in the NCC Army. In his early days, he started to work in a soap oil merchant shop for his livelihood. But wherever he went, he carried his drawing materials, pencils, and continued his drawing journey, which led him to join as an assistant designer with Mr. Soundararajan, where he learned the techniques of commercial drawings. In the year 1992, he started his own company, M Designs, and continued to work on a lot of projects and came to be known among the notable designers of the Madurai town. In 2003, he drew the aerial view of Madurai town for the calendar for a firm named Success Publishers, which brought him fame and recognition among journalists and public. He has drawn the aerial view of 25 cities so far. In the year 2012, the Hindu Metroplus Weekend, Madurai made a coverage and gave him the title as a cartographer. He was drawn to conserving the murals of our temples, which were fading away with time. He has reworked 3 huge murals, them being one in the Avudiyar temple, Pudukkottai, the celestial wedding mural of goddess Meenakshi Sundareshwara drawn during the reign of Queen Mangammal, which is found in Madurai, and the Sanctum of Alagar Kovil temple drawn during the period of King Thirumalai Nayak, also in Madurai. His interest took his attention to the Pudumandapam, the treasured architecture marvel of Madurai. After a lot of constraints and challenges, he finally started to document the sculptures of Pudumandapam from the year of 2015. After 8 years of continuous work, research, he has come out with the first part of the book. It is published under the name Uli Oviyangal in Tamil and Monoliths of Madurai Pudumandapam in English. It consists of various decorative sculptures. There are 124 pillars, which has been standing the test of times for more than 400 years now. And there are various sculptures found in the Pudumandapam, the Tiruvilayadal of Lord Shiva, the Nayakar kings, horsemen, Yali structures, interior shrines, figures of sages, etc. among the few sculptures found there. I thank the author, Rathina Bhaskar, for joining us today and invite him to share his experiences of documenting Pudumandapam. Over to you, sir.
Welcome to everyone. I take this opportunity to thank the Lord who blessed me and my parents who brought me together, my teachers who taught me this rare art. I would like to thank Srimati Sasikala Anand of Ritambhara and all her team members for having recognized me to given this opportunity. Vishwakarma Jayanti is a perfect occasion to talk about the Pudumandapam of Madurai because it has full content of sculptures. Here I have less information about Pudumandapam. Just like the meaning of Indian poet and philosopher Thiruvalluvar's Thirukural saying, Kolal inidu, Yal inidu, Enpadam Makkal, Malalechol Keladavar, which means the pipe is sweet, the lute is sweet. Say, those who have not heard prattle of their own children. Like he said, we fail to appreciate the beautiful sculptural marvels present around us, but get amazed by the buildings in foreign countries. Other countries have some architectural pride here and there, but in our country, the glory of sculptures stands out everywhere. We need to try and work bring out the architectural and artistic pride of our country. The seventh king of Nayak dynasty, Tirumala Savari Nayanu Ayalugaru, also called as Tirumala Nayak, ruled Madurai from the period for a period of 36 years effectively. There is a belief that goddess Meenachi herself treated the king from his ill health, and in gratitude, he contributed immeasurable works to the land of Madurai. One among them is the Vasanta Mandapam, present Pudumandapam, which he gave us. He started to build this Mandapam on 1623 AD in order to celebrate the Vasanta Vila or the spring festival for goddess Meenachi continuously for the period of 22 years. By this year 2023, this Mandapam becomes 400 years old from its starting time. King Thirumalai Nayak ideas were materialized and brought to life by the chief sculptor Sumantara Murthy along with the help of 1,000 painters, sculptors and architects. It is located just opposite to the eastern tower of the Meenachi Amman temple, measuring 322 feet in length and 90 feet in breadth. Consisting of various decorative sculptures, 124 pillars, it has been standing the test of times for 400 years. I thank the Almighty for having given me the opportunity to draw this treasure and present it to everyone in the form of book. Whenever I crossed this structure, I felt an admiration towards it. Surrounded by about 300 shops, it was not easy to approach the structure and document. Taking photographs to document was a challenge as it was not appreciated by the people there. However, from the year 2015, whenever there is an opportunity, I started drawing the sculptures in the absence of the shopkeepers and during the festival times. The Pudumandapam, which is empty now, used to be occupied and controlled by the shopkeepers association there and had certain rules and restrictions. With their permission and the help of some friends, I was able to photo document some of the monoliths. Later, when the Mandapam came under the control of the temple administration in the year 2021, I got permission to photograph the upper portion of the pillars. With the help of Apple iPad, I drew the sculptures in vector mode. First, I drew the sculptures without knowing in order, but later sorted them systematically in order. Found out their details after a good research and work of 8 years. I published my first part of the book named Uli Oviyangal in Tamil and the Monoliths of Madurai Pudumandapam in English. Monolith sculptures measuring approximately 10 feet in height are placed on a stone plinth of height of 6 feet. Thiruvilayadal of Lord Shiva, Divine Games, Nayak Kings, Horsemen, Yali statues, interior shrines, figures of sages, etc. are among the few sculptures found here. Each pillar is of 25 feet in height, and some pillars have been formed by combining two vertical parts. No plaster work has been done anywhere in the mandapam, and everything is fixed using the interlock system. One can find no inscription on any of the stone. My interest and efforts to know about these sculptures provided the opportunity to bring out the great work done by artisans before 40 decades ago. The height, width, facial features, arm, feet of the sculptures are balanced and elegant. The ferocity of the horses, the valor of the sword-wielding warriors, the divinity in the facial expressions of the sculptures of various deities are inspiring. Even the details of the teeth are carved out in few sculptures. The stage, which has a roof structure made of ebony wood, is to be seen by everyone. There are a lot of sculptural forms that tell the glory of Lord Shiva and Vishnu, signifying the harmony between Shaivism and Vaishnavism. There are small as well as big sculptures in the pillars. The clothing of Nayak rulers and their concerts are depicted in a very natural and realistic way in the sculptures, which clearly brings out their respectable lifestyle and sense of fashion 400 years ago. For example, the queens are seen wearing closed neck and full hand blouses, 3-layered hip chains, anklets in their legs, armlet and bangles adorning their hands, 4 to 5 finger rings, traditional head ornaments like Nettichudi and Chudamani, with a single blighted hair adorned with talambu flowers, that is fragrant screw pine flower, the big earrings. The kings are seen with the folded hands, wearing big headwears and a dagger in their waist. Their waist cloth made of designs of birds and flowers. Also seen there are the 15 paintings drawn by J. Watman in the 17th century. One of the paintings showcases a pillar near Kali sculpture, which had a chain with 7 rings made out of a single stone, which was present in the southwest corner of the Pudumandapam. However, it is now in 2 rings. All the 124 pillars were documented and sketched from all the 4 sides by Adam Blackadder in the same century. From earlier times, the structure has drawn fascination from people all over the world. We should take time to identify, document, and appreciate our architectural marvels. With these few words, I would like to conclude. Thank you. That's all.
That's very short and very sweet, Shri Rathina Bhaskar.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Very nice.
Yeah, you want to show some of the images that we have from his work? Yeah.
Or if Rathina Bhaskar has some of the photographs, that would be very nice.
Yes, he shared with us, ma'am. We are sharing that on the screen now.
That would be nice.
Yes.
Because it's a really marvelous piece, the mandapam.
So you want to add some things as I go through the sketches?
This sketch is called Urtva Tandavam, which is a dance competition between Kali and Shiva, Lord Shiva. Finally, he won by uplifting his leg towards the sky, which Kali cannot do. In the statue, left side of the statue, Karakal Amyar is there. Right side, Panasuran playing the Kudamula. In the down of the Shiva, there is a Muyalagan. In the neath, there is a Adhigara Nandi. who plays the Mattalam. The single stone monoliths, height of 22 feet, I think. Very huge masterpiece of that year. Please next. This is the Kali which participated in the dance competition to Shiva. He has 8 legs, 8 arms. Each one carries his weapons, weapons. In this beneath of the right leg, there is a woman playing the Rudra Veena, very rare piece I found here. So this is called Rudra Veena. The 2 figures, it's very common, the power of woman Shakti, I think. Next. This is a assistant woman of the kings. They're holding the fly whisk and a very elegant dress. Her eyes are very sharp. They look standing in a very polite manner. There is 4 more statues like this available in Pudumandapam. This is sage Patanjali, who father of yoga. This is very huge statues there. Here to Patanjali, there is another statue, Vyakrapada. Later I will share with you that picture. This is one of the horse barrier in the east entrance of the Pudumandapam. It's very gigantic and monolith. Bottom of this had some collapse. There is very nice. This we can feel the surface of this statue is like our skin. It's very soft. Not even any wood, metal mark or anything we have not seen in this statue. This is the founder of Pudumandapam, Mr. Thirumalai Nayak, the king. This is the front and left right side view of the plinth. His main 2 wives, Devi and Rudra. But it is a saying he have nearly 200 wives. So they noted all the women under his beneath. But he is a very good taste in art and architecture. He spent much money to build the Pudumandapam for us. Next. This is one of the Yali statue. In this pillar, you can see this right side and left side pillars are in separate stones. They are affixed it by without any plaster works. I have seen many times, many years this, and admin very happy about things being in my home city. When you have a chance, you should not miss to see this. If you wait for 1 year, it will become a museum. It's going up now. I will lead all of you and show this one. Next. This is also the Yali picture, Yali statue and the servant maid. Okay. Thank you. I am not express my words in English. It's a lack of knowledge.
You did very well.
explain in
You
my
did
books.
very well. Don't worry. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. All of your
Art
encouragement.
doesn't need a language.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. That's all.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful images.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
We have some comments from the participants as well. From Anand, so beautifully drawn, sir. From V, they are amazing and very thoughtful drawings. From Kumar, Ati Sundaram artwork, blissful work. From Chandana, very detailed. From Saurav, your work is phenomenal, Rathina Bhaskarji. Thank you for saving the art form. You are awesome. From Umapathy Acharya ji, great work. From Vikas, wonderful. From Shailaja, wow, we have no words looking at your art. Namaskaram. From Kumar again, your artwork explained everything. From architect Sonali, so intrinsically proportioned and detailed, and so many stories embedded within. Pranam and Naman to such dedicated individuals who have helped preserve this strong heritage. Thank you. Then we have another comment. This is so beautiful, sir. From Saumitri, so divine.
Thank you. Thank you all.
It was a very, very wonderful experience having Shri Umapathy ji telling us about the philosophy, the principles, the Vedic underpinnings of the great tradition, and having someone coming from outside of the tradition who has looked at this beauty and been deeply moved, spent years recreating it for all of us to enjoy in a manner of a book. I think it was an amazing kind of movement from the wisdom of the tradition to the actual visuals of the tradition. And I'm feeling extremely moved by this. This is what we need to keep fostering. So hopefully we'll have many more such years of Vishwakarma Jayanti through our platform. And hopefully some of you will start doing this in your own places, going to your own temples, looking at them, doing a photo doc, and then making this available, like Rathina Bhaskar ji was saying, that this must be available to you. If we are surrounded by such beauty and we're not paying attention to it, I think every one of us will have to start paying attention, becoming aware, and making it available for our younger people. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Rathina Bhaskar ji. Thank you, Umapathy Acharya ji. I hand over to Anand for a conclusion and some announcements.
Yeah. And Anand, don't forget that this was a beautiful preamble to whatever we want to say about asking architecture students to take it up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I think that's what came to my mind. I think it was a great session the whole morning. Very interestingly, because we have been always part of so many online sessions, and one can realize that right from the minute that we started around 10 to concluding time, almost everyone was there without leaving the meeting, which is very rare in an online session, especially on the Sunday. I think that tells the story of how intriguing our traditions are and how masterly both of the people have put them in perspective in front of us. I think it's a great honor and a privilege to attend these sessions. As I said, Umapathy ji, every word that you were speaking and the slides that you were showing were almost like mantra. They held so many things in them. And same thing with Rathina ji, that all the lines that you've drawn patiently for years together and so well drawn, I think they tell a story beyond a simple art. And I completely agree with Umapathy ji. It is not about just the art as means. I think it is something that evokes inside you the moment you experience these sculptures, art pieces, as well as the space. So with that, I again thank both of you for sharing your insights, and for everybody to patiently listening to and understanding so many subtle aspects that we were put in front of us. As I was talking about our Sangha, we are already doing certain things to promote the idea of Indic thought in our own way, in our own limited scope. And we wish to extend this as much as possible. Currently, we are a small group, a Sangha, but we want to extend this and further. And with this idea in mind, we would be launching one small research initiative from our Sangha. We will be announcing it soon on our website, as well as it will reach you on your mail IDs as well. That we are planning to say that our new generation, including some of us who have been trained in the Western method, need to actually visit and start imbibing the spaces, especially of the temples and sculptures that are traditionally built over the years. So we will be launching a kind of a competition, inviting various proposals on research primarily, so that we will be able to guide, mentor, and help people who are interested in visiting back our traditional knowledge through our spaces which are already built, like temples, temple pressings, and decode as much as possible from our own limited understanding, and document and record, because I think it is very important that we document and record and put it in front of the world of the great knowledge that we have, are blessed with. And soon we will be announcing that competition related to research grant. So we will be sending it to you. We will be also putting it on our website. So please do share it further so that we can reach out to many people who might be interested and may not know how to go about it. I think it could be a good start, and we could pitch in our own small things in the entire travel to back
It
to
can also
connect
be a team,
with our
Monolith.
tradition.
It not be just an individual.
Sorry?
It can be a team
Yeah,
also.
it
It
can.
need not be an individual of people who want to
Correct,
do
correct,
some
ma'am.
documentation of temples and sculptures in their own areas. Hmm?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Shivangi, do we conclude officially from your side?
Yeah, so thank you all for coming, attending the session, staying with us for last 2.5 hours. Thank you once again to both the speakers, and we will see you again next year with the Vishwakarma Jayanti and many other smaller events on the way. Yeah, thank you all. We will be sharing the recording as well with the registered participants in a couple of days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Phenomenal. Looking forward for the next one. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Salam.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Priya, for always updating me on these sessions. All the best for continuing.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Just thank you, Anand. Thank you, Priya.
Thank you.
I think let's conclude.
Yeah.